Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Pete Two Finger, and I know I've been recommending a lot of stuff. I've been throwing a lot of stuff at you lately. Hey, did you watch the Beatles? uh, I was in a live stream house concert at the Rob Fetter's last Saturday, and someone said that's enough. We don't want to hear anyone talking about the Beatles. We've talked enough about the Beatles and we've talked enough about Dark Side of the Moon. And another person chimed in and agreed. So, yeah, you're not allowed to talk about the Beatles and you're not allowed to talk about Dark Side of the Moon. Now, Otis Gibb is a music channel. He's a guy with a white beard. I really don't know about Otis Gibb. I really don't know much about him. I know that he's a touring musician, and I know that he's been around Nashville. He's a lifer, like a real deal musician, not a pretend two-fingered bastard like myself. Anyway, Otis Gibbs said that when someone says to you that the Beatles suck or cast shade on the Beatles, that they're doing you a favor because then at that point you realize you never have to listen to a single thing that they say about music ever again. Which is a really, really quaint way of putting it. Uh, le- Yesterday, I finished watching the worst movie I've ever seen. Now, I did watch part of a movie called Meet the Feebles, which was touted as a entertaining Aussie Peter Jackson puppet freakout. I I gotta say, Meet the Feebles tested me. I managed to make it through about maybe 20 seconds of it. Um, and that was probably around somewhere around the top of my list for like the worst movie. Uh, well, what we watched yesterday, I finished. I did not watch it in one sitting. I watched about half of it and then shut it off and went to bed and then picked it up and watched the other half. And this thing, it's so unbelievably bad. I cannot begin to words. Let's just go over and take a look. So it's 1984. It's a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman, Jim Backus, Merv Griffin, and Pat Morita. And a whole huge cast of others. Okay, this movie is called Slapstick of Another Kind. And yes, they do steal major plot elements from Close Encounters of Another Kind. So, Slapstick of Another Kind is a 1984 American comic science fiction film. I would beg to differ on comic. Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman, filmed in '82, released in March of '84. It was based on a novel called Slapstick by Kurt Vonnegut. The plot revolves around the People's Republic of China severing relations with other nations. They've mastered the art of miniaturization and have shrunk people down to 2 inches. So they arrive in a flying saucer modeled after a fortune cookie to zero laughs. Like it's literally this thing. I cannot even begin to tell you how horrifically bad this thing is. There's a gasoline shortage and they're running the cars on chicken poop. So all vehicles have chicken coops on top of them. At one point, Jerry Lewis and Madeline Kahn give birth to these two beings who, when they rub their bulbous heads together, begin some sort of weird coitus. And it's shown here, but they're brother and sister, so everyone objects. Um, there's a whole huge party segment with a lot of like maids, like you can see this maid back here, a lot of women in stockings running around, and not a single laugh. Here is a moment of hilarity with the Laurel and Hardy rip-off guys. And the only thing that I'll say that I can figure that made sense to me was cocaine. That there was just tons of blow going around, and that everyone was so high on cocaine they didn't realize what they were making was the most lifeless, unfunny comedy that's ever been made. This thing it's a turkey. It's a turkey. Nothing happens in it. There's really long scenes that go nowhere. Eventually, it crawls through this plot. Really, minimal of events occur in the film. There's some setups of some attempts of some stuff that maybe could be considered funny if they somehow delivered it. There is a couple zany scenes of mayhem where Jerry Lewis just goes and smashes a picture over his head and smashes the whiskey bottle and runs around making those faces and these sort of noises. The plot, basically, these beings are really dumb, but when they put their heads together in this coitus, then they all of a sudden supposedly become smart, although there was really no representation of that. But they object to it because they're brother and sister. They split them up. These are twins. There's stuff like life-size, horrific life-size Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls for you to feast your eyes on. And then Marty Feldman just pouring stuff on over his own head. Marty Feldman just coked up to the hilt, running around, just searching. He already used that bottle of Thousand Island salad dressing to pour over his head. It's empty. So he's got to throw it away and run around in fast motion some more looking for another bottle of liquid to pour over his own head. Even Marty Feldman's deformed eye sockets can't save this film. It's horrifically bad. There's not a single laugh to be found in it. It's over an hour and a half long. The only way I can imagine that this happened was just mountains of Peruvian marching powder. I really cannot explain how they could this is our movie. This is like, seriously. They had to just be doing so much coke that they didn't have the time or the wherewithal to understand how much of a turkey that they had lambasted. It's just the worst, absolute worst thing I've ever seen. And then at the end, they have the spaceship where they turn the gain up on the video processor, and everything's all washed out, and more of these things come out. The makeup that they use on Jerry Lewis, this giant prosthetic nose and then this bulbous head with this wig, and they're always like putting Groucho glasses on him for laughs and stuff. It's horrific. It's one of the most traumatizing things I've ever seen. Definitely check this thing out. I would consume it in 2 sittings, like I said. Don't just fast forward through it. You've got to actually sit through it and see how there's no payoff on nothing. Like, everybody kind of tries. Merv Griffin kind of tries to make it a normal thing. Morita kind of tries to make it a thing. And there's like almost a minute where you might be like, ha, 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 like consider that, but not really. None of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. There's no tie-in from one concept to the other, except that they stole the whole concept from Close Encounters of a UFO, and then taking people back on that ship and leaving. But that's the only thing that you're left to grab onto. There isn't a single laugh or snicker or smile in this movie. It's horrific and freakishly, embarrassingly bad. Really. Again, the only way I could see that this movie was possible, and he went on. There's footage of Jerry Lewis on the Tonight Show with what's his name? Johnny Carson. He's on Johnny Carson trying to sell this movie as a legitimate comedy. They show a whole clip, and people applaud. But I'm guessing his dealer was waiting in the wings to be paid to deliver another huge sack of the finest cocaine. So yeah, check out. There's another name for it. Slapstick of another kind. Oh, here's a movie poster. Can we get a view of the movie poster? Yeah, let me click you guys over before I let you go so you can see this. Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman. And you can see that this being, whatever this being is tweaked out of his gourd. I mean, his pupils are completely dilated. And then we have here's a photo of one of the military segments of the film. Jerry Lewis's nose is beginning to rot from the amount of duff that he's insufflated. And then we have these guys are probably cartel members holding Pat Morita hostage if they don't pay up for all their cocaine bill. And here is Madeline Kahn. She's about to keel over. Marty Feldman's dead. He just died while they were filming it of a arterial defibrillosis. That's what happens when you insufflate too much cocaine. So yeah, let me know. Watch this thing. It's on primewire.nl and Yes Movies, or what do you call it? Look Movies. I'm pretty sure you can find it on there. So check it out and let me know what you thought. And if you can recommend anything worse than this, I mean, I've seen some really bad stuff before. I've seen some of the MST3K stuff, the really bad old Christmas stuff. But this thing, it's the worst thing. It really is the worst thing I've ever seen. All right, you guys, take care and peace.